Hi everybody, you are hearing me right now through this piece of crap audio amplifier made for model rocketry application back in the early 90s is when I last used this thing, and I'm going to do a teardown of it to see what kind of crap we can find inside of it. But first, while I have it hooked up to the microphone input of the camera, let me show some problems with it, and that is if I just gently touch it or pick it up, you can hear all sorts of hideous plasticky sounding. All the plastic frame noises is going straight into the microphone and wreaking all sorts of havoc. Also, a problem with it is that if I turn down the volume, right now I have it at max, but if I turn it down, then you can I don't recall that problem happening when I first got this thing many years ago, but it's certainly happening now, maybe from some dried out capacitors. So let's switch over to a nice, modern, good quality microphone. Alright, now I will be using this Sony ECM Sc3 microphone. I did a review video on this a while back. I'll clip it to my shirt. And here you can see the audio amplifier right here in this gun-shaped plastic case. Got a little LED on top here to indicate that it's turned on. Turn it off, LED turns off. It's powered by a simple 9-volt battery inside here. If I can pry that off, there we go. So yeah, there's the 9-volt battery. And audio output normally to headphones, but for the case of the camera I had to use a attenuator right here. Just a simple audio attenuator made from some audio power potentiometers, and then this was going straight into the microphone input of the cap, but we don't need that anymore. So let's have a closer look at this thing. Okay, I said before that this was made for a model rocketry application. Here's the Estes symbol right there, made in China. And basically what this is supposed to find a model rocket. If you lose it, if you lose track of it, then you point this around and then you can find it. Now, when I first bought this thing in a hobby shop many years ago, back in the early 90s, I thought it was really awesome. I was like, wow, I can just point this thing somewhere and find the model rocket with some kind of transmitting beacon inside of it. And I had initially thought that this was going to be a wireless RF beacon, that it would send out some RF signal, and then I can just point this around with a directional antenna inside of it and try to find exactly where it is. But no, it's just it. And of course, I was 5th or 6th grade at the time, and I really didn't know any better. So I thought this was the awesomest thing in the whole world when I saw it in the store. So when I finally brought it home and started using it, I realized what piece of crap it was. It was really just the thing that you put in the model rocket was simply an audio a speaker, like a high power or just a little tiny speaker making a 1 kilohertz tone or something like that. You turn it on and it makes this horrendous sound constantly. You pop it in the rocket, you launch it up, and it goes up, and then if by some small chance that you lose sight of the rocket and it lands a mile away, then you can use this thing to poke around and try to find out exactly where it is, listening to that audio tone through headphones, of course, and try to find out exactly where your model rocket landed. If your stereo binaural ears aren't even capable of doing that, then of course you could use this. It has a handy dandy little cheap piece of crap compass on top there to find direction. But yeah, it really is just a gimmick. One hell of a piece of crap. I was very disappointed when I got this. I think I did use it once. I put the audio transmitter in a rocket once and launched it, and it landed within sight. I really didn't need this thing at all. So I'm going to tear it apart and see what kind of crap we have in here. I will start by taking out this foam cover right there, and let me get a flashlight. And wow, really cheap construction. There's no special audio channel or anything going down this tube. It's really just a microphone in the middle of that circuit board down there, and some other very basic discrete transistor audio amplifier stuff down there. Really crap stuff. So let's take out these screws and see if there's anything else that we can see. Alright, I got 4 screws out. There's still one screw in here that my little screwdriver here isn't going to actually fit down inside that hole. I don't care. Just crack that thing open, and here we go. Let's take out that. So that's all just plastic, cheap plastic case, and this is the electronic goodness right here. And let's see what we got. So there's a pot with a little switch on it, of course, for the power. Probably a 10K pot would be my guess. There's a microphone right there, and really just, wow, just very simple audio amplifier right here. There's a little LED on the top, of course. And I can smell it too. This thing absolutely reeks of fiberglass circuit board cheapness. Now there are 5 transistors on this thing, and I looked at their part numbers, and they're all either HE9012 or HE9013. In that case, that's the NPN transistor. The 9012 is the PNP. So there are a bunch of matched pairs in there, and it's really just general purpose transistor. But this one says designed for use in 1-watt audio amplifier with portable radios and a Class B push-pull operation. I'm not going to actually reverse engineer the whole circuit to see if it is a Class B amplifier, but you can see it's got a pretty decent beta right there, 180 typical. So a really good, half decent quality, high gain PNP or BJT. That's really all there is. The only circuit analysis I'm going to do on this thing right here. Now I do want to do a little experiment, and that is to see if replacing these capacitors would be able to remove the squelching sound when the volume knob is at the lower levels. I really don't know what the failure mode would be for something like that, but considering how this thing is probably 25 years old and the caps certainly aren't going to be of the highest quality in the first place, let's see, we got, what's the brand name on this? Wisdom? Never heard of that. Never heard of this Wisdom brand. Wow, that's got to be cheap. Anyway, I'm going to replace those caps and see if that'll have any effect on the squelching. And there's all the new capacitors, or at least newer capacitors that I put in there. And I already hooked it up to battery and headphones on this thing, and for some reason it's even worse now. Now there's squelching over the entire range of the volume pot. It just sounds absolutely horrible. So this is, completely gone. I have no idea why the squelching happened in the first place. Certainly not worth poking around with a scope or anything like that. So that's all I'm going to do for this, but there is one more little bit of fun that we can do, and that is when I discovered, after I put the caps on and listened to it, that we could do some circuit bending just by poking my finger here on the pins of the components and just making a whole bunch of weird, bizarre noises. So I'll hook this up to the camera's microphone input, and you can hear some too, and I'll leave you with that. Thanks for watching.